So with 15 in, our 2 scrimmages are done with. There's nothing earth-shattering in the last scrimmage. There's a lot of situational stuff. Worked overtime, right? Understanding how up to the third overtime things change, right? And the importance of scoring a touchdown, percentages that go with that. We worked goal line, which is something that I think is hard to do a lot of. It has to be live, and how many times do you really want to make it a rugby scrum like that? We work, some backed up situations, understand what we're trying to do there, and then certainly continue to work 2 minute. That was the scrimmage. That was the situations. So for us, there's good and bad in it. Being in those situations is good. You see the guys that step up and make plays. Unfortunately, I think on offense we put a couple balls on the ground, which we had not done really all spring or fall camp. So things that we've got to certainly clean up. When we talk about our team and how close we are, those situations are the ones that are the difference in winning and losing. And so it's good learning experience for us, and something that we worked tons of situations throughout camp, and our guys have handled it well. They'll be ready for it. I think you heard Rob talking about how the difference, right, in practice is it's like, all right, hey, here we're red zone period right here, and they know where they're at. A lot of people don't really understand how it happens, but you drive the ball down the field and you're playing with tempo, you're in and out of a huddle, and you got guys in and out off the field. Well, sometimes you lose track of exactly where you are. So, it's good to hear him say things like that. And, I'm really proud of Rob, because he's a guy that's come just a long way as a person and growing in consistency. And this camp he's pushed through. Like today, he practiced, his shoulder's a little bit banged up, so we had him non-contact, and he practiced, and he went hard. And, I think the old Rob probably wouldn't have done that. So, to hear those guys up here, I don't know, every time I get to hear them, it makes me proud, because you can tell they're seeing and doing the right thing. So we're in a good spot right now. We're about to kind of phase out of fall camp and start working on an opponent, which will be fun.
So where are you in the quarterback decision?
I know what I'm going to do, I've talked to the quarterbacks and all that stuff, and I'm not making an announcement to the team. Last time we did that, we had all kind of people trying to find out what's going on. It's none of y'all damn business. That's going to be our decision. Our team's going to find out, and they're going to find out the best way that I think it should be. It's not an announcement. Everyone on our team, every player in that room, they believe in both of those guys. One of them had a better camp, and that was my job, was to pick who's playing best. I know they both can win games. I believe both of them could start and win a bunch of them for us. It's a good situation to be in. Get to pick who is the best one, and that's what we got to do. So, I'll announce that, whenever I'm ready. Once our team and everything's fine, once they'll figure it out. So, we'll get there pretty soon.
I know y'all never really worried about having a number one receiver, but is Rob ready to be that guy if that existed, do you think?
I think Rob's got all the ability to do it. Rob has switched positions this year, so he's playing Z for us, which is a little bit different, but I think that's the best fit for him skill set wise. He and Jake are both playing at Z. It's hard to say, they're kind of 1A, 1B, and you feel really good about it. I think consistency is kind of like, where you get to, all right, who's in there when it's the game on the line type of thing. Rob's got all the ability to do that. Could he be that guy this year? Yeah, he could. Right now, is he? I don't know. I would say he is right now. Like I said, right now, I think, we've got 5 for sure that I feel great about going out there on any snap of the game. 6 is probably really close right now to saying, yeah, we got 6 that we feel great about. And more than that, it's hard to play. It's hard to manage, But the tempo and the speed that we want to play at, we need 2 deep at everyone to be able to play. Otherwise, you're going to wear guys down throughout the year and stuff like that. So it's never been something that, MJ in 22 ended up being our 1, but, he shared snaps too, had to, So it's just, for us, it's kind of the best way that we operate. It's kind of the same deal with running backs, That's just been a formula for success. And, you heard Rob talking about it. We rotate groups every day. We practice with 4 groups, and so, you're a 1 receiver. You might get most of your reps that day with 2s. It just is what it is. Like, they just understand that, everyone's got to be ready to go. And, I think the value in it is when you predetermine, all right, this is like the guy. Well, you don't find out if everyone else is ready to go. The way you do it right now is everybody's got a chance to be the guy. And after fall camp's over, it's, well, okay, who handles being that guy? I told him this morning, I said, you need to be the guy at 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday if you want to be the guy at 7 o'clock on Saturday. And so that's just kind of the mindset. And I think you get to put a lot of guys to the test. And some of them you see, man, this guy is ready to go do it. And some of them they're not. And that's okay. But we need to know now and continue to develop them so they can be when we need them.
How difficult is it with college football, really one of the only sports where there's no exhibitions, where you're just playing against your guys and you're going to go play a game that counts? How difficult is it to prepare in that situation?
Yeah, it's very difficult, you know, and especially in week one, you got a new staff, new schemes. Right now, I mean, everyone's got new players every year. So, you know, I mean, you kind of, used to be, you know, you did summer scout all summer and you had a really good feel for what's going on. Now, you know, now in this team, you know, with Grambling, they got new staff. So, I mean, you know, the defensive coordinator, last time he called it was in 19, I think. Well, that's a lifetime in college football. I mean, you can change the way you feel about your philosophy on things quite a bit in 5 years. So, it is difficult, you know. I think it'd be kind of cool if you had a scrimmage or you had a jamboree like high schools do where you played a half and you got a little tune up and got to do that, but we don't. So, you know, we work really hard on situations. We practice really, really hard so that the game won't be taxing in the end. And, you know, you got to put them in some live scrimmage situations too, as much as you can. Certainly, you know, last thing you want is get somebody hurt, but it's football. I mean, you know, I remember a few years back in 19, we lost both starting tight ends in both scrimmages. I mean, it sucks. It's just part of the game sometimes. So yeah, it is a challenge, but you know, everybody's got to deal with it. So it's not an excuse for anybody.
After the first scrimmage, you had mentioned the defense having some things that kind of needed to clean up. Now, as we've moved forward past the second scrimmage, have you seen kind of those steps kind of being taken to kind of clean up some of those things and kind of work on those areas?
Yeah, I thought we started out in the scrimmage in the second one. We started out tackling. It wasn't great in the first couple of drives, and then we settled in and tackled really well. So that was good. Naturally, we got to start faster, right? But that was good to see improvement throughout the scrimmage there. I think Coach Salgado and the defensive staff did a really good job. You know, people kind of don't understand this, but you get into camp, and after 14 days, the defense has 14 installs. And the offense has 14 installs. Well, that's a lot of stuff, you know. And when you get to a game plan week, you don't carry that much inventory. You don't carry that many calls. So they did a really good job in scrimmage too. They narrowed it down, said, hey, look, we're going to do this kind of like it's a game here. These are the calls we're going to run. And I thought our defense did a much better job communicating, getting lined up in the right spots. You know, that first scrimmage, there was just a lot on the table. And we do a lot on offense. It's multiple. So, you know, defensively, I mean, you know, you can make these calls, but you got to be adjusted out. So I thought that was really good, and I thought we tackled better as it went on. So that was good to see for sure.
From day one of August camp to now, are there one or two players that have kind of surprised or made the biggest leap on the depth chart? Who's kind of really made maybe a bigger jump than y'all were anticipating?
It's always hard when you kind of put me on the spot there, Kevin. It's trying to think here. I think Caden Jensen's probably been the best offensively, probably the best surprise in camp. He's gonna be a really good football player. He is a big dude. He's physical. He's athletic. I mean, he had a great run after catching the scrimmage the other day. You know, made a guy miss and scored the football. So I mean, I think offensively, I'd say he's been a really good surprise for us. You know, defensively, it's kind of hard to say. You know, I know we talked a lot about Jaden Duggar and some of those other guys. You know, I think Cam Whitfield has completely changed his approach to everything. Like, he is playing at such a high level right now. Like, he's grown up. You know, he was the young guy in the room for a long time. All right, and you know, when you're the young guy in the room, you're kind of the little brother. It's kind of okay to, you know, kind of be, you know, clown around and all that stuff a little bit. And since this summer, he's like completely flipped the switch. And I mean, he is practicing at an extremely high level right now. He's always been talented. Everyone saw that last year. But he is doing his job extremely well right now. And that's a guy that's coming back, so I know it's kind of like, well, he's already a good player, but he's playing at another level right now that to me is really good for us. I mean, I think we're gonna have a hard time getting all those Jacks in the field. I mean, those guys that's a good room. That's a damn good room. I mean, you got Cam, you got Duggar, you got Ashley, you got Fight. I mean, you got 4 guys that are really good football players. So we're gonna have to be creative and get them in there, and getting those guys to play, because they're 4 guys that I think that's a really talented room for us, and I think Cam Whitfield kind of sets the pace there.
So Ashley is who y'all thought he was?
Ashley is, yeah. So he's a guy that's got a little flexibility. Like, we've played him at Jack, but he's bigger than the rest of them. You know, he's like the edge setter. He could 100% play. Like, when we go to the 4 down stuff at end, that's his game. And odds, setting the edge and things like that, he's really good at it. So he's got some flexibility where there's some things, you know, you always got to kind of expect the unexpected, right? Or you hope for the best, plan for the worst, however you want to say it. Like, if some things happened at end, he could absolutely do that. I mean, he's big enough, he could play 4 eye. It's a little different world, wouldn't want to jump into that, but he could do some things for us. So yeah, I mean, Ashley's played really good. You know, when we got him back, you know, when he came down here and visited us in December, I guess January, whatever it was, he was like a different looking person from whenever he was in high school. So, you know, we were his first offer in high school, and he came over and questioned, like, he's a little thin. Like, you know, I don't know if he's going to be big enough. And he showed up and he was like 255. I was like, okay, well, he's not thin anymore. That's not the issue here. So, yeah, he's been a really good addition for us.
Are there any changes? Have there been any changes in camp in terms of going in, who you thought was going to be the punter, kicker, returners, special teams? Is it all about what you thought 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, I would say in the return game, that's definitely still the same. You know, with Zylan and Jake, those guys have handled it like extremely well. You know, snapper, Quarter kind of went through it a little bit, battled through. You know, he's still the guy. You know, you know, that's a tough position mentally to play. He really went through a little bit of a downturn, but he's really bounced back and done a great job. You know, Kenny is our kicker. I think Sterner has done a really good job as the backup kicker. You know, Klotz has been kind of out a little bit. He came back. We got him into camp today, so he'll get to compete there as well. But that's really more competing for the 2 spot. And then at punter, you know, obviously signing Nathan, you know, that's who you expect to be your guy, and he's done a really good job. He's really talented. But adding Gilbo as well as a transfer, we've really got a good group there. I mean, you got 2 great options. But Nathan, you know, Nathan's the guy right now, which is kind of what we expected. But, you know, you got 2 guys at punter. You know, we've definitely improved there from the spring, and we needed to. So, yeah, in special teams, I mean, it's kind of what you think it was going to be, and that's a good thing. So,
Kicking
off, we're kind of rolling a couple different guys. Kenny's been kicking it really good on kickoffs. Like you said, like Nathan told you, he admitted he's not a kickoff guy. You know, he's a Australian guy, so I don't know if he's ever kicked off the ground in his life. But you know, Gilbo can kick off, and Sterner has been kicking off, and like I said, Klotz is back in it too, and he did a really good job, you know, in the off season and everything with his kickoff. So I'm not sure who that's going to be yet, but I feel really good that whoever it is, we'll be able to hang the ball up, we'll be able to put it where we want it, we'll be able to cover some kicks.